First of all, before starting my presentation, I want to thank architect Shashikala Anand Madam for extending us this opportunity. And she has been very close to us since long, being the prime disciple of our Guru, Padma Bhushan, Dr. V. Ganapati Stapati. Thank you, Auntie. And I was asked to talk on tradition of Vishwakarmas. So I was like searching, going through some gathering for literature of Vishwakarmas, and I just came upon a quote by a great scholar of India, Ramras. He was a Sanskrit scholar. He was born in Tanjore, native judge also, who served the British colonial government. And he has written a wonderful book on architecture of India, almost the first of its kind, called the Essay on Architecture of Hindus. In that, he has mentioned our architecture, sculpture, and painting have been for ages confined to a class of people known as Shilpis, who were not mere builders but scientists and technologies of exceptional wisdom and talents. I was wonderstruck at the word scientist and technologist because my guru, Dr. Ganapati Stapati, used to mention the same terms when mentioning about the Vishwakarmas of ancient period who built the great monuments. And today, we will just have a glance on who were they, what is their significance, what is their role, and what is the science they handled to do such great wonders.
Gayathri, you're on mute. Yeah.
Yeah, like, so now we will look into who is Vishwakarma. So while talking about Vishwakarma, we have to know about certain Puranas and Vedas which tell us about the Vishwakarma and who is he. Vishwakarma is the original universal energy, the primal energy, the unmanifest energy which initiated first in the universe, and he is the master creator, master architect, master designer of this entire universe. Morning, during the prayer song, we had seen what Mulastamba Purana had to say about Vishwakarma. He arose all by himself. He is Swayambhu. He is Swayambhu and he created everything, all that we see today. This happened trillions and trillions of years ago, at the start of all the yugas and the start of all the world systems. And we get references about this in the Rig Veda, and that is how we get to know about this great Purusha, Vishwa Purusha. Rig Veda says, in Rig Veda there is a sutta, Vishwakarma Sutta. It says, Vishwatashvakshuruta, Vishwato Mukha, Vishwato Bahuruta, Vishwatasyat, Sam Bahubhyam Dhamati, Sam Padatrair Ghava Bhumi, Janayan Deva Ekaha. How beautifully it is given about the all-pervading nature of the energy. It says, having eyes everywhere, having a face everywhere, having arms everywhere and having feet everywhere, he traverses with his arms the heaven and with his swift moving feet the entire earth. And here exists a God without companion, generating heaven and earth. So Lord Vishwakarma is an unparalleled God energy who has generated the heaven as well as the earth. Again, we have the Shilpa Vidya Rahasyopanishad, in which further describes how the Vishwakarma goes about his creation. It says, as we all know, energy is neither created nor destroyed. So the eternal energy, Vishwakarma, he himself manifests into the universal forms. And Shilpa Vidya Rahasyopanishad of Atharvana Veda says, Jagat Udaya Karanam Tan Mano Jayate Manas sankalpat sarvam jagat sankalpitam bhavati. The root cause for the emergence of all the in world system originates in his mind, and all the world systems are harmonious creative ideations of his mind. So upon his own desire, he manifests and he enjoys the manifestation, and he enjoys and creates everything around us. And that is why we get to see only creations of harmony around us. Everything in nature is very harmony and symmetry, and that is because the Purusha, he is enjoying his manifestation, and he manifests into all the creations we see around. Again it goes, Sa Vishwakarma Paramatma Bhavati Adi Shilpa Krititaha Bhavati. He, Vishwakarma, the designer and creator of all, is indeed the supreme primal existence. Therefore, he becomes known as the primordial and foremost designer of forms. So, Vishwakarma is the foremost designer and architect of the universe. That's what we get to know from this Upanishads and Vedas. So now we come to know, we need to know what is what the Puranas want to say about Vishwakarma. Puranas tell us that Vishwakarma is a five-faced Brahman. Vishwakarma is a five-faced Brahman from whom descended the clan of Vishwakarmas. Now we are coming to who the Vishwakarmas are, how they originated from the Lord Vishwakarma. The five-faced Brahman Vishwakarma gave birth to the five clans of Vishwakarma. Hence, the clan of Vishwakarmas are the direct descendants of the Lord. They don't belong to a caste. Later, in the administrative system, they were put as a caste, but Vishwakarmas are a race. They are the aboriginal creative tribe of India. They don't come under caste system. Even in the Chaturvarnya Vyavastha of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra, they were not included in the four Vyavastha. They stood apart of that. They were the fifth group. They formed the Panchamar, namely Manu, Maya, Tvasta, Shilpi and Visvajna. Manu Vishwakarma represented the blacksmiths, Maya Vishwakarma the carpenters, Tvasta Vishwakarma the bronzesmith, Shilpi Vishwakarma the stonesmith, and Visvajna Vishwakarma the goldsmith. And these five clans, five sects of Vishwakarmas had Brahma Rishis ruling these five sects, namely Sanaga, Sanatana, Ahabuna, Pratanasha, and Suparna. So, just like the Lord Vishwakarma, he first manifested into the Panchabhutas to create the universe and its forms. He created the Panchashilpis or the Panchamar or the five groups of Vishwakarmas to create the functional needs of the society and whatever is necessary for the human society to function and for the earth to move on. So I have a question in between, like what comes to our mind when we think of the great architect, great culture of our country, or not only our country, the entire world. What comes rushing to our mind? The great dynasties, the great kings, the great battles fought, the architecture, the art, everything rushes to our mind. But ultimately, what remains today, talking about the past? It is the architecture, the sculpture, the monuments, that is what has come across all these generations to tell us about our past, the great past of today's generation. So, without Vishwakarmas, all this would never have been possible. Such was the might of the Vishwakarmas, and thanks to the great valiant kings of yesteryears, they understood the skill of these people, these great scientists, and they patronized these scientists to do works which will etch the king's name in the history, and his name will keep on forever in the history. Like today we know who built the Brihadishwara temple. It is Rajaraja Cholan. It is etched with the building. It is etched with the temple. It remains unerasable in history. So that is the role of Vishwakarmas. And to detail further about their role, they were mechanical engineers. They did all sorts of tools for the agriculture, the industry, and without the Vishwakarmas, nothing would function. And they were defense engineers who created weapons like right from spear to even missiles. We have mentioned about missiles in our Puranas. And irrigation engineers who built great dams across rivers, and they were excellent architects, builders, and even town planners. And they were such wonderful sculptors that bespoke the divinity in all its full form. And last but not least, they were exquisite craftsmen of gold. And even that jewelry the gods enthralled to wear, not to mention about women. Such was the greatness of the Vishwakarma clan. And now, I want to just share about a few lines about the antiquity of the now to see the antiquity of the race. Just as the Vishwakarmas were the fivefold clan or the sects, they also handle fivefold Vedas, namely Shabda Veda, Gandharva Veda, Natya Veda, Sthapatya Veda, and Pranava Veda. And all these Vedas were existed before the four Vedas of Rig, Yajur, Sama, and Atharvana. And Vishwakarmas are people who are pre-Vedic in origin, because we get mention about Vishwakarmas and their divine profession in detail in all the Vedas. So we conclude, and we have literary evidence to show that they were pre-Vedic in origin and they served the society since long. And all these Vedas, they deal about the Brahman, the Vishwakarma. So the Vishwakarmas, through their Vedas, they understood the Brahman, and they were the ones who had the Brahma Jnanam. That is why they were able to create the creations in this universe following the same grammar as Lord Vishwakarma. That is why their creations were so divine and so aesthetic and highly spiritual. And mention about Vedas, we also find in Rig and Atharvana Veda, and we have Upanishads like Vastu Sutra Upanishad, Shilpa Vidya Upanishad, Rasya Upanishad, Vastushpati Suktam, Vishwakarma Suktam, etc. And today, Sthapatya Veda is also what is today called the Vastu Veda, and today we are only familiar with the word Vastu. That is all what remains of this culture today. And I'm very sorry to say that the Vastu we hear of today is having a completely different image of what it is originally. Vastu Veda is a science. It's a science of the space, the eternal space. So it is not only about the orientation or the placement of rooms as what it is talked about today. I think I need to have a separate session to talk about all this, because my time is limited today and I should restrict to the tradition of Vishwakarmas. And even in Mahabharata and Ramayana, we have many mention about architectural creation of one great Vishwakarma, the Maya Vishwakarma or Brahmanshi Mayan. And he is also called, he is titled the Deva Shilpi by Sri Vedavyasa himself. And we have seen that Maya built many palaces, wonderful palaces, intrinsic works, and also forts. Then he has made flying vehicles like Pushpaka Vimana of Ravana and brilliant weapons for gods. So what we understand is Lord Vishwakarma has manifested himself in the form of Brahma Rishis throughout the ages as Maya Vishwakarma, Manu Vishwakarma, And we have references like Vastoshpati, Brihaspati, all these references refers to this great Brahma rishis who have made possible the creation of Brahman on earth. And Vishwakarmas, because they knew they had the knowledge about the Brahman, they were referred as Vishwakarma Kula Vallabhas, Vishwakarma Kula Bhushanas, Vishwakarma Rishis, and Vishwakarma Kula Vamshodbhavas. Such was the greatness of their culture and of their tradition they followed. Yeah. And a few words about the Veda they follow, the Sthapatya Veda or the Vastu Veda. So what was that the Veda dealt with? This Veda, it deals with Akasha. Akasha is the primal element of the Panchabuddhas of space, air, water, fire, and earth. And Akasha is seen, they revered the Akasha as the embodiment of Brahman. The Brahman himself was all-pervading as the energetic Akasha, and the space was filled with innumerable energy particles called the Paramanu. And Vishwakarmas saw the Paramanu as the primal manifest form of the unmanifest Brahman himself. And the great yogis they were able to assume and detect the shape, the form of the Paramanu, and they found that it is fire in form. We get references about this in many scriptures, that the primal and manifest form of the Brahman is fire in form. And no wonder we have the architectural creations throughout in our culture in square as well as in rectangular form, and that is taken as the basic layout. And how wonderful that we derive our measurements even from the Brahman himself. So we have the root in the Brahman and everything comes out of it. And Vishwakarmas were the people assigned by the Lord himself to make those creations in this universe. And I have been telling that they have made great architectural works across the globe. For example, in our land of Tamil Nadu, we have the Brihadeshwara temple, and in Puri we have the Jagannath temple. We have the Ajanta Ellora caves. We have the Cambodia Angkor Wat temple. All these are so massive and so magnanimous that today, with all this technology and what all intelligence we have, we can never ever think of recreating those structures today, because when people of today visit this as their tourist destination, they are just they say that it is mysterious. That's what they want to say. It is superhuman. They use these words because we feel that it is out of human capabilities to do such great things. So, how did the Vishwakarmas of the past do this? Did they do it single-handedly? Never. It was a guild. They had a professional guild. They had a hierarchy of working. Such an organized sector it was, and they worked accordingly to make such massive things possible. And in that hierarchy, the Sthapati stood first. Sthapati, Sutragrahi, Vardhagi, and Takshaka. These are the four classes of Shilpis who made possible these stupendous works of architecture. Sthapati is called the Director General of Architectural Constructions because he is the one who leads. He is an architect, he is a come engineer, come sculptor. And the Mayamata Vastu Shastra says, Tapati Stapanarha Syar Sarva Shastra Visharadaha. He is the one who has the right to establish buildings, and he should be well versed in Vedas and Shastras. All the four class, they had the Veda Jnanam, but Sthapati was the foremost. And under him worked the Sutragrahi. Sutragrahi was an expert in marking as well as drafting. Vardhagi is one who is the expert in joining individual units as well as drafting. and Takshaka is an expert in carving. All these three class of workers or shilpis worked under the direction of Sthapati to make such great works possible. And we also see that the Shastras have more qualities for the Sthapati, like he should be one who is free from 7 vices like envy, lust, pride, anger, etc. He should be just, he should be compassionate, he should be straightforward, he should have control over his senses, and he should be a good mathematician. He should have knowledge about astronomy, history, he should be widely traveled, and he should be all rolled into one. Then only that Brahma will work through him to create to create these things in the world. So he should be adequately equipped with all this knowledge to undertake this brilliant work.